If you're earning more than ever but still feel one paycheck away from panic, this video is going to explain exactly why. Two people can make the same salary, live in the same city, face the same economy, and still end up in completely different financial realities. And once you understand the reason, you can't unsee it. Imagine this. Two college roommates graduate with the same business degree. They get hired by the same company. They earn the same salary, $75,000 a year. Same rent prices, same grocery costs, same starting line. Fast forward 20 years. One is financially independent, choosing how to spend their time. The other is still working overtime, stressed about bills, wondering why money always feels tight. Same income, completely different outcomes. This isn't about luck. It isn't about intelligence. And it isn't about secret stock tips. It's about behavior and structure. Here's a fact that surprises most people. According to surveys summarized by Lending Club and supported by Federal Reserve household finance data, roughly one-third of Americans earning over $200,000 per year report living paycheck to paycheck. That's people bringing home more than $16,000 a month, still feeling financially trapped. Let that sink in. Financial stress doesn't disappear with income. It scales with habits. Financial security is not about how much you earn. It's about how much pressure your system can absorb. If you mismanage money at $50,000, you usually mismanage it at $200,000, just with bigger numbers. Higher income often creates a dangerous illusion of safety. People feel protected, so they stop paying attention, and that's where the gap begins. Let's talk about the first silent wealth killer, lifestyle inflation. You get a raise. Suddenly your apartment gets nicer, your car gets newer, your subscriptions quietly multiply, your vacations upgrade. Within months, the extra income disappears. You're back at zero, just with higher bills. Behavioral economists call this hedonic adaptation. Humans rapidly adjust to better living standards. What felt luxurious becomes normal. What felt normal becomes uncomfortable. So spending keeps climbing, but satisfaction does not. It's like running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. You work harder, earn more, but stay financially stuck. Now compare that to someone who receives the same raises but chooses not to upgrade everything. They improve selectively. They keep fixed costs low. They bank the difference. Over time, that gap compounds. One person becomes dependent on their salary. The other becomes independent from it. The second major mistake is debt dependency, not just credit cards, but the entire lifestyle built on monthly payments. Car loans, buy now, pay later plans, personal loans. Financing everything makes life feel affordable today while quietly selling your future income. Debt doesn't just cost interest, it steals flexibility. When you owe money, every decision becomes defensive. You hesitate to invest, you avoid career risks, you fear emergencies. High-interest debt, especially revolving credit card balances, is consistently linked to long-term financial stagnation in consumer finance research. Here's a simple example. Two people both receive a $5,000 bonus. One uses it to pay off credit card debt at 20% interest. That is the correct move. But it only gets them back to zero. The other invests it. Over 10 years, assuming long-term market averages around 7% annually, that $5,000 can grow close to $10,000. Same bonus, different starting position, completely different outcomes. And this is where I personally realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't bad with money. I had simply built a life that required my next paycheck to survive. That's not wealth. That's a fragile system waiting to break. The third silent problem is lack of financial awareness. Many people genuinely don't know where their money goes. They know their salary, they know their rent. Everything else is just swipes and taps. Coffee here, lunch there. Subscriptions quietly renewing in the background. Behavioral researchers call this frictionless spending. When money feels invisible, spending increases. People who track expenses don't magically become cheap. They become intentional. Awareness alone often frees up hundreds or even thousands per month because waste becomes visible. You stop bleeding money through tiny decisions that never felt important individually. Now here's the deeper layer. These problems aren't math problems. They're psychological patterns. Scarcity mindset, fear of missing out, emotional spending, instant gratification. When someone believes money is temporary and fragile, they rush to spend it. When someone believes money can be controlled and grown, they slow down and plan. Now let's talk about what actually creates wealth, even for people with average incomes. The first principle is time leverage. Compound growth rewards early action more than high income. Research from Vanguard and decades of market return data consistently show that starting early matters more than investing large amounts later. Here's a classic example. Sarah invests $3,000 per year from age 25 to 35. Then she stops completely. Jessica invests $6,000 per year from age 35 to 65. Jessica invests 3 times longer and contributes 6 times more money. Yet Sarah often ends up with more at retirement. Why? Because Sarah gave compounding an extra 10 years to work. Time is the most powerful financial multiplier, but psychologically, early investing feels painful. Giving up money at 25 feels harder than at 35. The reward feels distant. That's why most people delay. And delay is expensive. The second habit is paying yourself first. Most people save what's left after spending. Wealth builders reverse the order. The moment income arrives, they move a portion into savings and investments automatically. What remains becomes the spending limit. This removes willpower from the equation. Behavioral studies on retirement plans consistently show that automation is one of the strongest predictors of long-term investing success. If you earn $5,000 per month and immediately move $1,000 to long-term savings, your lifestyle adapts to $4,000. You stop accidentally spending your future. The third habit is asset-first thinking. Assets put money in your pocket or grow in value over time. Liabilities pull money out over time. Wealth builders evaluate purchases differently. Consider transportation. One person buys a $40,000 new car with payments. Another buys a reliable used car for $10,000 and invests the payment difference. After 7 years, the first owns a depreciated vehicle. The second owns investments that continue compounding. Same mobility, completely different financial trajectory. The same logic applies to housing choices, gadgets, furniture, even education decisions. This creates what economists call a positive feedback loop. Assets generate returns. Returns buy more assets. The cycle accelerates slowly at first, then faster over time. That's why wealth often looks invisible early and obvious later. Now here's something important. This is not about becoming extreme. It's about alignment. You don't need to live like a monk. You need to spend in ways that serve your future instead of your impulses. The biggest shift is identity. Broke thinking asks, what can I afford right now? Wealth thinking asks, what does my future self need? One mindset consumes, the other compounds. And this brings us back to the opening story. 2 roommates, same income, different outcomes. The one who becomes financially free didn't get lucky. They avoided lifestyle inflation. They controlled debt. They tracked money. They invested early. They automated saving. They prioritized assets. And they gave time permission to work. Financial security is not about how much you earn. It's about how much pressure your system can absorb. Emergencies, job loss, market downturns, life surprises. When you build margin into your finances, stress decreases and options increase. So if you want one takeaway from this video, it's this. Stop measuring success by income alone. Measure it by flexibility, measure it by peace. Measure it by how many choices you control. Because wealth is not the number on your paycheck. It's the distance between your lifestyle and your income. It's the ability to walk away from bad situations. It's the freedom to say no, and the freedom to say yes when opportunity appears. The person relaxing on that beach 20 years later didn't win the lottery. They built a system, quietly, consistently, boringly. While everyone else was chasing appearances, they were building structure. And the best part? You don't need a higher salary to start. You need awareness. You need automation. You need patience, and you need to stop confusing motion with progress. If this changed how you see money, comment system below. I read every comment. And in the next video, I'll break down exactly how normal people can build one step by step, even on average income. Subscribe if you want calm, honest money education without hype, because chasing status keeps you busy. Building structure sets you free. Thanks for watching.